little addendum to the show map today. Shall we start here on the daily? Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live. It is Optimistic Monday. That is right. It is Monday, July 25th, and we're going to keep things optimistic today, but I do got to start with some semi-sad news, and that is because I'm here hosting the show. I guess that's kind of sad. Some of you might like that, but of course, I'm not Jebb, and Jebb is out again this week, and some of you guys saw his Twitter post. If you're not on Twitter, definitely go follow him at CryptoJebb over there on Twitter, but The thing that we told you guys, I wasn't really mine to share, but he did go ahead and tell on Twitter. Those of you know, months ago, actually my wife and his wife had a miscarriage. Well, it turns out here last week, his wife had another miscarriage, and that's why he was gone all of last week. And then while in the hospital, his wife and him both caught COVID. So that is why Jebb is not here today, and we will get him back as soon as we can. But thank you guys so much for continuing to join and watch the show and support our team and support Jebb. Keep him in your prayers. But that is what's happening with him. That being said, though, we still have a good show today, and there's still a lot of optimism in the space. There's still a lot of things happening in crypto that you guys definitely need to be staying in tune for. And guess what? This week is a big week. Why is it big? Well, it's the FOMC meeting, but other than that, it's also the last FOMC meeting before September. Yes, whatever rate we see this month is the last rate we will see from the FOMC until September. So a lot of implications for the crypto space here, not just Bitcoin, not just Ethereum, the whole crypto space, commodity space, the stock markets. Everybody is going to be affected by it, and that is going to be very big. You definitely don't want to miss Wednesday's show. We're going to have Caleb Franzen on both Coffee and Crypto and our live stream of Jerome Powell's speech at 2 p.m. We're going to go live at 2 p.m. He goes at 2:30. So that's going to be awesome. Make sure you guys join it and find out what you should be doing with your crypto, because we've been waiting for this now for a full-on month. We're like, all right, what's the next month going to look like? It's going to be huge. But before we jump into all of that content and more, we're going to be doing some technical analysis on some of your guys' favorite crypto. I want to interact with chat a good amount today. So I want you guys, I'm about to introduce my co-hosts here, but guys, keep your eyes on the chat, especially our super chats, our green names, but any good questions we have, I really want to engage with the crew today and get everybody's thoughts. So with that being said, I'm joined by T-Shroom and the Turtle King Smay himself. How are you gentlemen doing this morning?
1, 2, 3.
Better than we deserve.
Wow,
Tim.
good. It's almost like you practiced or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All weekend, that's actually what we were doing in here. Never left the studio.
That's good stuff, man.
We live here now.
Yeah.
I have a bed in my office.
I am not actually doing very well. I feel very ill right now, but we're pressing through. We're making
yours
But
is-
I think
yours
actually,
had-
wait.
yours is
So
like
that's
food.
Hold on,
poisoning
wait.
Stuff.
So that means he's doing how he deserves.
He's doing
'Cause he's-
exactly as deserved. Because
You're doing as you deserve.
ate some bad Mexican food last night.
Yeah.
So you are doing as you deserve at
Wow.
this point.
It was delicious though.
Good. I'm glad it tasted good. How's it? I mean, it's not really paying off right now.
We're from? Where from? If you
I don't want to get into that because they're generally really, really good.
Was it Blue Agave?
No.
Was it Las Margaritas?
Well, nobody knows.
I know, but I just need to know for myself. But anyways,
We
can
can
tell
talk
me after
about
the
it
show.
later.
Yeah, let's move to more optimistic things like something that makes Smay just wake up every single morning with a big grin on his face.
Yeah, what is it?
It's green names.
I know. I was kidding you because I wanted to see what you said.
What a
it's green
jokester.
names, guys. It's green names.
Wow.
I'm so excited to read green names. Oh my gosh, I'm just doing like so fantastic. Oh, anyways, I'm gonna read green names. I'm gonna
Do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read green names before Tim gets mad at me. All right, we got Can I read it as many times as he posted?
No, because he posted a lot.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna shout out D's Nuts, Gia S, Matt C, CryptoSec Guy. Who else we got here? We got Agent Gold. We got GoGo CJC. We got Cyberfix Online. We got Adam Rourke. We got Greg Jenkins. We got Silent. His birthday was recent, by the way. We have Grand Roofing Incorporated. We have who else we got here? I'm seeing a lot of same names. Oh, A Mellow Fellow. That's a new one that I haven't seen.
I like it.
Win Peoples. Jojo. Eye of the Beholder. And as in Bitcoin holder. Your owner. Tristan Williams. And then that's about it. That's what I'm seeing. So shout out to all of you guys. I love you guys.
We love our green names.
I love all you guys. Anyways, back to you, Tim.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering what those green names are, some of you might not even see green names because you're watching on your phone. But if you're watching on your computer and you do see those green names, those are our members, our beautiful members, which we love each and every single last one of you guys. If you want to become a member, no pressure whatsoever, but there's that little join button right there by Crypto Jebb that you guys can become a member today. Again, no pressure, though. We just love each and every single one of you, no matter what. But I do have an announcement before we jump into some of our market pulse. All of our members over there at Club DeFi, I know there's been a lot of questions going on. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for just continuing to be patient. We are in beta, fixing some stuff, but our server, our contractor server went down last week, and they are not getting it back up. So we are working on every solution possible. But for example, today, what's going to be happening, if you are in the Discord, which by the way, if you're in Club DeFi and you're not in the Discord, make sure you go sign up and get into that Discord for Club DeFi because that's where all those announcements are. But we're going to be putting a lot of those videos over on Teachable over the next couple of days so that even though it's not going to be as pretty as what we wanted on the site, and the site will be back up very soon, at least you guys will still have access to the content. You'll still be able to get in and sign up for those office hours. And so thank you guys so much for continuing to be patient with us. But that is the solution for now. If you have been wondering, if you've been emailing, why can't I access the videos on Club DeFi? It's because of that freaking server. And trust me, it has been the bane of my existence over this last week. So we are working on all those solutions just for you guys. But with that being said, let's go ahead and smash that like button. Let us know that you guys, this intro, sometimes people don't like our intro. Sometimes people don't like us warming up. It's coffee and crypto. You got to wake up. It's early. Even here on the East Coast, it's 10 a.m., but a lot of us, we've had a long weekend and we're still waking up over here. So we got to get going. If you don't like it, you can smash the like button to let us know how much you don't like it. And if you do like it, you can smash the like button to let us know that you do like it. You can also tell us in chat, and someone will read it, and we'll be able to use your feedback. But with that being said, you have something to say there, Smay?
I was going to say, and if you really, really don't like it, you can hit the dislike button twice.
That's true. You can do that too. But T-Stream, let's go ahead and kick off our market pulse. What is happening right now in the world of crypto in the news?
I think kicking off the market pulse is a great thing to do here.
Yeah.
And Smay, you can go ahead and jump onto my screen. We're going to start off with a website that a lot of people might not know. This is one of the biggest media outlets in the UK, Sky News. And so now you know that. And they're reporting on a very, very big British bank. Barclays has snapped up stake in a $2 billion cryptocurrency firm, Copper. And this is a really, really oddly timed deal that looks like it's going to be going through here. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about it. Barclays is taking a stake in Copper, one of the most prominent names in the fast-evolving cryptocurrency sector, even as the industry continues to be rocked by a swath of bankruptcies. It certainly does. Bless you there, Smay. Citi sources said Barclays was expecting to invest a relatively modest sum in the millions of dollars as part of the round. So Copper's doing a funding round there. Yeah. And Barclays is eating it up. It was reported earlier this year to be targeting a valuation of at least $3 billion in its latest capital raise, but has since scaled that back, reflecting the growing crisis in the wider crypto asset sector. All right, so being a little bit more conservative, but Copper has also grown frustrated with the approach of the UK financial regulators, prompting it to establish a hub in Switzerland instead. So headquartering there in another country outside of the UK, but still being able to fetch investment from Barclays. So a very interestingly timed story today. It was actually a pretty slow news day, and that's because nobody wants to make a big announcement when the Fed meeting's coming up, because you don't know what's going to happen with the Fed, and you don't want to be associated with negative news potentially. But also, you're just going to get outshined by the Fed news. You're going to be in the shadow of the Fed news. But this story comes out, so this was perhaps either delayed or they just don't care about the PR around this. But it's very weird timing for Barclays and Copper here. But ultimately, it is kind of like a little bit of sun shining through the clouds here in the storm that we're in. But Tim, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, the first thing to say is make sure, T-Shirt, when we're reading those, because the way it's with your box in the left corner, make sure so people read what you're quoting, you keep the quotes up high. The other thing, we talked about it on the planning meeting this morning. I don't know if you guys were scrolling through the news over this last weekend. Both, we like to use newsnow.com. We go through there, we get our articles, find out what's happening there. I love paying attention to Twitter. I saw someone post on Twitter. They're like, I learned more on Twitter than I ever learned in school, and that's actually pretty darn accurate. But I don't know if you guys have been noticing a bunch of new predictions that the bottom has already been in and we have nothing but up from here. And to a point, it's actually kind of a little bit alarming. The amount of people who are predicting that the bottom is already in and we're not going to go any lower, it's all up from here, to me is almost, I'm sitting in the camp, but I still think we have another leg to go down. Now, I used to say 12,000. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to go down to 12,000. There's a chance we don't have to go that low. But for anyone who thinks it's just easy sailing all the way up, I mean, there's always a chance the bottom's already in. I just don't think so. And again, when you see a bunch of opinion piece articles being posted on news sites saying, hey, the bottom's in, there's nothing but up, I'm like, it seems a little too good to be true. But we'll have to wait over the next couple of months. I do think that potentially we will not see another low price on Bitcoin here unless something surprises me here over the next couple of weeks. I think that we'll talk about this more in the discussion section. I think we could see a prolonged period of maybe a couple months where we're trading between 20 and potentially even as high as 30,000. But we'll talk more of that in a little bit later, here about 30 minutes or so. What else is happening in the market pulse here, T-Shroom?
All right. Well, we also got an article here from CNBC. U.S. Treasury yields nudge higher ahead of Fed meeting. Recession risks in focus. So those Treasury yields giving us a little bit of hint of maybe what's to come. But much of this week's focus will center around the U.S. Federal Reserve two-day policy meeting, concluding on Wednesday with economists broadly expecting a 75 basis point hike to interest rates. And then also very important this week is earnings for Alphabet, which is Google, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. So some really important things to be looking out on. It's not just the Fed this week, it's also going to be earnings from those top tech companies. And we have also been tracking that crypto has been kind of tracking big tech for some time now. And so it'd be really important to see how those tech companies' earnings come out and see how profitable they've been in this quarter. But the yields on the 2-year note was roughly flat at 2.930%, maintaining the inversion of the closely watched 2-year to 10-year yield curve that markets often interpret as a signal of an impending recession. So that inversion is still lingering in the market, and kind of a stormy cloud over the market still, but it is nudging higher. So Treasury Secretary, and also we got Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told NBC on Sunday that while there are signs that the U.S. economy is at risk of a recession, a downturn is not inevitable. So the White House still pushing that narrative that a downturn is not inevitable. Apparently they got the memo that it is Optimistic Monday, even though she said this on Sunday. But
She knew.
Yeah. So they're big listeners. So at the White House, but yeah. So we'll keep moving here. Move on to the...
Well, I want to, real quick, because we were talking about this, and again, we're going to talk about it later, but I want Smay, go ahead and put in chat, put a poll in chat asking, do we believe the bottom is already in, or do we have further to go? And I just want to see even where our community is sitting right now, because I see a lot of comments about people saying, yeah, absolutely, we're going lower. But again, I think some people are sitting squarely in the boat, and even what Janet Yellen just said right there, we're going to discuss this more in the discussion section, But if they go heavily after attacking the recession rather than inflation, that's actually a good thing for the crypto space. And so the question would become, does the bottom in just by default because they're going to start climbing the Bitcoin space because they're attacking recession rather than inflation? Or are we just delaying? And whereas we thought maybe the bottom's going to come in around October, November, maybe we don't see a bottom like when we talk about 15,000, 12,000. Maybe we don't even see that till maybe early or mid 2023. So it's kind of like pick your poison. What do you want to happen there? I want to hear what people think about that, though. We'll discuss that later. But yeah, we could. Last story, I think. Do we have one or two more?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details because this one broke pretty late last night. But Voyager, no customer will be made whole under the FTX proposal. So again, not going to get into this one too much, but there's some analysts saying that if there was a deal for FTX to bail out Voyager or potentially buy them, then the customers would not be made whole. They would basically be buying up what's left of those customers' assets. So more news to come on that, but that does wrap up our market pulse.
And I guess I'll cover the last story. There's a Cardano story, but we'll cover that actually when we do TA here in just a little bit. So a lot of cool things. Right now, I think the poll, what are we saying at? 76% saying no, the bottom is not in. So our audience definitely is more in the camp of saying we got a little bit lower to go. So the question becomes really, not that we get to make that final decision, but the question is when, There's technically still is the question of if, but I think the bigger question is when. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some technical analysis. We're not going to go crazy deep because, again, a lot of this is just so dependent upon what we see happen on Wednesday. But I definitely want to get through Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano today. And if we have time, and if I see the chat kind of overwhelmingly asking for another coin, we might touch on another coin here. But let's start off with Bitcoin over here on the daily chart. It might be easier to see if I go down the 4-hourly chart because you guys can see recently here in the last couple of days over this weekend, we went from being in this rising, it's kind of a rising wedge, almost like a little bit of like a microphone because it's kind of expanding as we go. But now we're kind of in a descending channel or a falling wedge. It really depends on how you want to call that. Yes, technically these lines are converging, but they're not doing it very quickly. I do think this is something to keep our eyes on. We've come back down. We are sitting right here at this $21,800 level of used to be resistance. Now we're turning this into support. But keep your eyes on what's happening right here. I do think this is kind of just a phase of like we're waiting on seeing what the Fed decides. I don't think this is any indication that this little support rally that we had mounted here last week is over. I do think this is just kind of like a, hey, we ran out of steam for the bulls. The bears have a little bit of control. But overwhelmingly, you guys are looking, if I have to look at the volume, yeah, we had a little bit of an uptick right here during this climb, but it's just not really that much volume in the space. We're definitely going to want to see a little bit more happen before we can make any type of call with any type of certainty. But let's look at a couple other things on Bitcoin. Let's go over here and let's look at what's happening on the RSI. First thing, not anything necessarily too special. We definitely did have, some bearish divergence right there, very vaguely. We had a flat top on the RSI, but the price continued to climb. So that, right there is a reason for why we ended up coming back down. You guys could have known that that was going to be at least a local top. I didn't know if we were going to remount and maybe potentially go one higher and do a 3-touch on that bearish RSI divergence. We ended up just using 2 touches to do it, but we're coming back down. Right now, there is not bullish RSI divergence on that 4-hourly chart. I don't believe there's going to be any on the daily chart either. No, there's not. Again, even there, that's where you can kind of come in and say, hey, there's some bearish divergence right there. The question is, how low do we have to go? But of course, these peaks right here, that's climbing. The prices are going down. Let's go down to the hourly chart on Bitcoin, see if there's anything else happening right there. An argument maybe potentially, that's not really bullish RSI divergence either. Almost flat, but those levels are still a little bit lower. We could set up potentially hourly bullish RSI divergence here because you're noticing this price is down below the candle closes right here earlier this morning. And the RSI is nowhere close to it. But this is the hourly chart. That can change so quickly. This could give us a little bullish rally for the rest of today, and then we have a little bit of a dip tomorrow. Let's look at some other things that might be more important out here on the daily chart other than RSI. Let's start off with Fibonacci. So this level right here, this $25,000 level, I still think is a key level to keep your eye on when looking at our Fibonacci. And I'm going to show you guys on all three of them, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, the importance of this Fibonacci retracement levels and the golden pocket. You're going to see Ethereum's actually climbed above their golden pocket and are now using it as support rather than resistance. But you'll notice right now we're kind of hovering. We're a little bit below it, but we're hovering right there at the 0.382. That could be a level of strength, of support for the space. If I pull up my VPVR, we're going to give that a look too and see what's happening there. And the last one I'm going to look at is moving averages. Again, right here, we're kind of mounting in an area. We're going to be mounting some support with the volume right here. We're starting to uptick around 21,500, 600. So could we get that low before we end up reversing? Absolutely, we could. But notice, we kind of rejected right here around this little pocket, 23.22. The next pocket of resistance is going to be that 25.4, 25.6 region of the golden pocket, and then it's the 28,000 to 30,000 that we're looking at. That potentially is the next stop if we like what the Fed has to say about everything. There's no guarantee necessarily that's going to happen, but it's something we do got to keep our eyes on. The last thing I'm going to show you guys the SMA, what we're doing out here on the daily chart. Let me pull down my VPVR. Currently, right now, we're coming back down to the 20 daily SMA. We were using the 50 as a little level of support here for a little bit, but this most recent candle today has dropped us below, and we're heading down towards that 20. So let's make sure we keep our eyes fixed on what's happening there with Bitcoin. That being said, that's all we probably need to cover. I can look at Luxalgo really quickly on the daily chart, see if anything special happened, because we did have our buy signal. Yeah, right now, I don't think there's any indication from Luxalgo this is necessarily terrible. We had our green candles. We never got our green trend catcher though, so that was kind of the third thing we were looking for on Luxalgo on the daily chart. We had our buy signal, we had our green candles, but we want a green trend catcher. We now have a purple candle, which means indecision. I'm not going to read into that meaning to buy yet on Bitcoin, but I also don't know if it's time to sell if you were entered into a trade of any kind. Let's go down to Ethereum, see what's happening with Ethereum, because this is the big one. You're going to notice, so we talked about a falling wedge or a falling trading channel over on Bitcoin. It looks almost as Ethereum might be kind of mounting a little bull flag. And what I mean by that is this right here. We have, or not flag, excuse me, guys, pennant, because this is actually, converging. If I go down to the 4-hourly chart, it's a little clearer what's happening right there. If this were to play out, though, let me go over to back to my daily chart. If this were to play out, which I'm not necessarily guaranteeing it will, but let's just pretend it does end up playing out, this could give us an Ethereum price prediction of $2,400. Now, that's a little bullish. A little bullish for me. I'm just showing you guys what the technical analysis is saying. I think that's a little high. Unless something big happens to Ethereum that does not happen, or maybe if Bitcoin climbs to 30,000 and Cardano climbs back up over to $60. I don't know why I said $60. If Cardano went to 60 cents, Bitcoin to 30,000, maybe we'll have some potential that we could see a $2,400 Ethereum. At this point, I think that's asking for a little much, but technically speaking, I can't ignore that's what we are seeing at the moment with a bull pennant on Ethereum. As I mentioned before, this area right here, this is that golden pocket on Ethereum that we were talking about. If I were to go over here and draw this Fibonacci retracement for you guys one more time, you guys will see that clean pocket right there. What we are wrestling with is the 0.786 zone and then coming back down to that golden pocket using it as support. So this is going to be important. Are we going to break down out of this bull pennant? And are we going to come down and break through our golden pocket on Ethereum, or can this bullish momentum continue and we start to talk about that 17,000, 18,000, maybe even break through that region and start a rally up? You know, Ethereum is one of the projects with the most bullish fundamentals at the moment, the most bullish news. When we're looking at on-chain metrics, it has the most strong hands in the market percentage-wise. If you're looking at some of those top altcoins, it has some strong holders in the space, not a whole lot of young holders or weak holders. So Ethereum is definitely very exciting. Let me pull up my SMAs on this one. Currently it's not really wrestling with any of our moving averages over here on the daily chart. So this is something I think Ethereum, guys, it's one of the hotter moving projects of our time right now. So keep an eye on Ethereum. Again, massive bullish prediction, potentially 2,400. I think more realistically, let's just worry about 17 to 1,800 right now. But Ethereum continues on its tear where it's kind of outpacing the rest of the crypto space. Last one I want to pull up here, Cardano. And I told you guys there was a news story that broke about Cardano. And that story, if I went over here, let me see, I had it pulled up, is about potentially, we had that little bit of a rally on Saturday evening, I believe. I think it was Saturday evening. We had a little bit of a rally on Cardano. And the reason for that was because they ran a successful test ahead of the Basel hard fork. This the article over here by FX Street talking about the smoke test on Basel hard fork testnet. It's you guys can go read this article if you guys would want. We can put this link to it down in the description, Smay, afterwards. But Cardano's back down. It is back down, but unlike Bitcoin, where Bitcoin's kind of heading into a falling wedge or a falling trading channel, and then we have Ethereum, which is still kind of forming a bull pennant. We kind of have almost like a weak little bull flag on Cardano with two flat levels. Again, I drew this on the 4-hourly chart. Let me go to the 4-hourly chart so you guys can see it a little cleaner. Only 2 touches on the resistance, so you guys know if you're doing technical analysis, learning technical analysis, you want to really see 3 touches before you're saying there's a strong level of resistance. But as it stands right now, we definitely have 3 touches on our support level right here, and then we have 2 nice strong flat levels right there. So could this be acting as a trading channel that is going to prep Cardano to break through its golden pocket around 54, 55 cents and potentially send it up to, you guys know, we predicted based off of this falling wedge it had been in for months that Cardano could potentially get all the way up to 80 cents, especially with the fundamentals coming out with the Basel hard fork. It seems to be on pace. Some of you guys hate Cardano, and I'm sorry. I still stand bullish on everything happening with their project. But a lot of interesting things happening here on theirs as well. Let's look to see if there's anything else interesting happening. Let's pull up some moving averages, see if there's anything key that we're looking at right now. Kind of hovering right now, 4-hourly chart. Let's go to the daily chart. Hovering right at, you guys are going to see the 50 daily SMA. We are sitting right there using as support with the 20 coming up very quickly. So watch those 2 moving averages. If you guys are looking at Cardano right now, watch to see if we can hold that 50 or if we come back down retesting the 20. The last one, of course, let's go look at what's happening in Lux Algo, because I do believe Cardano, yes, it stays this way. Cardano is one of the few projects that does not have a daily chart buy signal on Lux Algo. We had this sell signal back here in June, let's see, that says the 12th or whatever. but most projects, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they have buy signals on the daily chart. Cardano has nothing. They had a purple candle that quickly turned back to a red. So as it stands right now, it's not sitting in a great spot to necessarily buy, but the fundamentals, of course, are still promising for the future. So keep your eyes on here. The good news is we are above that trend catcher. You guys can see right now, not the trend catcher usually acts as support, but we're sitting right above the trend catcher at this point. So let's keep watching Cardano. What I do want to do is transition into some chat. And I told you guys, if we had some time, I definitely would be willing to do a coin that you guys would like to hear. But I wanted to cover what we were seeing on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Those are the big three that I feel like a lot of our community loves to hear about. Anything you're seeing in chat, T-Shroom, that we could do more TA, or is there any questions that we could go back to any of those three charts and hear a little bit more about?
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things. So Alton Henderson said, got my 88 orders in on the fib retracement levels. So using some fib retracement there to time an entry. And then Mega Spaceman Spliff talking to @dude said, analyze it will go both analysis says it will go both up and down in the near term and generally just up over the long term. Hope that helps. Dude had asked, he'd said, I'm dumb, just tell me which way Bitcoin's going, which is
okay. Well,
a
so
terrible way to approach
the thing
the
about
market.
the thing about charts even is when he says that sometimes it calls up and down. First of all, TA is about probabilities. It's about increasing your probability of making an investment. But yeah, no, depending on what chart you're looking at, I definitely, there's going to be some charts that kind of show us that we have some bearishness to go. Like right now, being in this falling wedge, let me go to some of the lower time frames. I'll go all the way down to the hourly chart even, if you're on my screen here, Smay. I don't think that we necessarily have to be done climbing. Yes, we're sitting right at a support level around 21.8, but I told you guys there's a chance we get down to 21.5. There's a chance we just kind of follow this flow of this falling wedge all the way back down, testing the support line of that bear flag that we'd been in, that a lot of people thought would break us down to lower $13,000 level, $12,000 level. There's a good chance we continue to move down in the short time frame, but I still believe we'll have to see for Wednesday. That's why Wednesday's so important. Is that Wednesday will kind of tell us, hey, is there going to be more bullish space in the crypto space and in the stock market and in the commodities, or is there going to be potentially, some reason to actually go to the downside? What I'm looking at, just so you guys know, we'll talk more in the discussion section, but what I'm looking at is not just the number, because I think 75 basis points is pretty darn close to a sure thing. It's going to be the response that Jerome Powell gives us during his press conference that either gives us a little bit of relief to the crypto space or potentially puts some more pressure on it. And that article we just read in Market Pulse with Janet Yellen was kind of talking about there's still a hope that we don't have to go into a recession. Just so you guys know, I think most people have come to a realization we're in a recession right now. If you just look at the economy, you look at what's happening, we're in a recession. But by definition, a lot of politicians are holding out and saying, well, we're not there yet, and we're going to keep us as best we can from getting there. With that, the Fed and Jerome Powell might feel some pressure from the White House to go a little dovish and, go 75 basis points, but give this hope that maybe down the road, we're not going to have to go as high. We might go back down to 50 basis point rate hike. And maybe even a month after that, go 25. We'll talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. But in case you're wondering, hey, if you're asking Tim which direction it's going to go, long term, it's going to go up and to the right. The question is short term. And I think, down. I think there's a good chance we potentially could just go sideways and down until Wednesday. Again, we had the big rally from the bulls last week. And now it's just like, all right, while we're waiting to see what the answer is, it's okay to move down to the sideways. I kind of think that 75 basis points has been worked into the price as it stands right now. So unless Jerome Powell says something very, very crazy in that press conference, I think that potentially sideways and slightly to the upside over the next couple of weeks is a very real possibility. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a super chat here from Elliot Locke donating $2. Said, need to change my Club DeFi payment method. How do I do this?
Yeah, so that's okay. So if you guys are in Club DeFi, if you're a member of Club DeFi and you have ever gotten access, you should be able to get access to the Discord. If you cannot get access to the Discord for some reason, email our support team, support@cryptojebb.com. But all the answers and all of that stuff is in the Discord, and Shannon will be able to answer that for you very, very quickly. So that would be the best way to get a hold of them and to make sure you can transition and do whatever you want to do with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right. We got another one from Humble. This is unpaid. Humble Doge sub 10,000 is coming. Then okay. I will back up the truck and deploy my capital. I am in all fiat ready to deploy heavy once 10K breaks. So thinking it's going to go down to 10K. But Tim, I would ask you, what do you think about this narrative that a lot of analysts thought back in November that we were going to go to 100,000, but we only went to, what was it, 68, 69,000. What do you think about this narrative that a lot of analysts, there's a lot of good reason why we would go down to 10 technically, but maybe we just won't, just like we didn't go to 100,000, we won't go down to 10.
Well, let's start off with there are some narratives that were there. Now you have to rewind to the time, and you can't access all the data and information that we have now. Although at the time there probably was a lot of information and reasons to believe we could dip down to 20, but there was just as much reason to think that we would keep climbing to 100 as there was we were dipping down. It ended up dipping down. Right now, are there arguments to say that it can go below 10,000? Absolutely, there is. The lowest I've seen realistically is about 8,000. Anything below 8,000, we're kind of just talking about speculating that this recession is going to be terrible, that the economy is going to really suffer, and that everything is just going to go down together. From a technical analysis standpoint, the lowest I've seen based off of a bear flag on the linear chart is putting us around 8,000, higher 8,000. So, you actually kind of push it all the way to 9,000, really. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to go that low. And here's the other thing. And I think that's, you got to come up with your plan, whatever you want to do yourself. What I'm telling you right now, this is my strategy. I think that we really could realistically see a $13,000 Bitcoin. I think there's a chance we get down to 10,000. I'm not against that. I am not waiting for 10,000 or even 13,000 to buy with the chunk of fiat that I have sitting currently. I'm not waiting for that low. And the reason why is because I have suffered way too many times from pinpointing this spot on the chart and saying, I think we're going up to here, I'll take profit at that level, or vice versa. I think we're going down to this level and I'm going to buy into that level. And we get close, but we do not touch, and I never get to take my profit or I never get to purchase in. So whenever I pick a point, and everyone's got to do their own research and find this for themselves, but whatever you think the price is going to go down to, I highly recommend putting your buy-in order above that spot. And how high above it, whether it's $100 above it, whether it's 1,000, whether it's 2,000, choose for yourself what that spot is. I can't tell you what spot to choose. The only advice I would give you, though, is do not pick a spot that you think is the exact bottom and put your buy-in order right there. I think you're going to be setting yourself up for disappointment by doing that. And guess what? At the end of time, let's say that Bitcoin's price gets to 13,000, but I put my buying order, let's just say this isn't my spot, but let's say I choose 15. Let's say I go 2,000 above. I will be very happy to have bought a good amount of Bitcoin at 15,000, even though I could have bought even more at 13,000, because in the long run, when I'm looking back 5 years from now, that 15,000 is look like a great buy spot and not that much worse than a $13,000 buy spot. That is just my opinion, though. Make sure you form your own, do your research. But I heavily advise, please, 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 especially if you're new and you think you found a good level as a bottom, don't buy right at that level. Buy a little bit above it. Protect yourself from potentially being a little off with your calculation.
Yeah, it's sage advice, Tim. Absolutely. Queen commented, T-Shroom, try a ginger ale, not cold. So Queen detecting that I am not feeling great.
Yeah.
But I will more than likely pick up some ginger ale on the way home today, and hopefully that will make me feel better. Our very own Kelly Kellum has posted in the chat, patience, patience, everyone. Bitcoin has a long future ahead of it. Volatility in the short term is remedied when you zoom out and see it as a patient climb up and to the right. Happy face. So, that just a rallying cry there, a moment of just good old fashioned reality there. Just some good wisdom from our very own Kelly Kellum, and then Bearish, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but said they want you to think that it's going to go lower. Putting our tinfoil hats on here, they want you to think it's going lower. Why? Institutions want you to leave you waiting while the price slowly moves upwards until they pump. Then money off your FOMO. So they profit off your FOMO.
So what he was talking about right there, when he says they want you to think. Here's what you guys need to know. Just go read some articles. Just go watch other YouTube videos. You're going to see experts. And when I say experts, I mean these people are very intelligent. They have been doing this for a long time. They are very intelligent people who will tell you that the bottom is already in. Buy right now because this will be your last time to buy below $25,000. They're going to say that. They're going to tell you that. And guess what? They're very intelligent and they're going to have very good explanations and reasons as to why. Well, then flip the script. There's very intelligent people saying 15,000. There's very intelligent people saying 12,000. There's very intelligent people saying 9,000. There's very intelligent people who have called for 5,000 or 3,000. This is why you got to do your own research and you got to make this decision for yourself, because I've seen way too many people choose someone that they thought was perfect and just this amazing expert. And they're like, well, this person's been in the space for 40 years, so they have to know what they're talking about. I'm going to save you some time. Nobody, not a single person, no matter how long they've been in the space, no matter how profitable they are as a trader, nobody knows the date of when the bottom will come, and nobody knows the exact price. They're doing their best to guesstimate what those levels will be, and they're going to support it with some research. But you, as the individual who is going to be investing your money, you've got to decide for yourself. And it is okay to say, well, I listened to such and so and such and so and such and so, and based off of all of their advice, I'm listening to what they're having to say, and I think this is a good spot. But what you've got to walk away with that spot is saying is that spot was your choice. It was not because they told you so. Because that's something that happens so often is somebody listens to a YouTuber or somebody listens to an expert or somebody listens to this economic, professor at Harvard. And then when the price doesn't do what that person predicted, they're like, oh, this person screwed me over. They lost me. It's like, no. You purchased. You clicked buy. You went off of their advice. Well, guess what? They probably went off of their advice. So they're just as screwed as you are if that's what happened. You've got to take responsibility for your own buying spots. And that is why it's about being and taking good spots, not perfect spots. If the price goes a little bit lower than where you buy, or let's say you decide to buy right now, guess what? Buying at $22,000, which is where we're kind of hovering now. I guess we're at 21.8. Buying at 21.8 is better than buying at 28,000. And 28,000 is better than buying at 32,000. And yes, 17.5 was better than 21, and 13 is better than 17. There's always you can always look back and say, well, if I had just held out for that, I would have had a better spot. That's not the point. The question is, what is a good spot? And do your research to find out what a good spot for you is to buy, and then make the purchase and hold. The whole decision was you. It was on you. So do your research. And I know people don't like that. People want somebody else to make their decisions for them. If that's what you want, go get a financial advisor. But I can tell you right now, financial advisors aren't perfect either. So I hope that makes sense and hope that sticks.
Yeah, we've got a super chat here from Elliot Locke donating $2. Said, Tim, talk do Chainlink and Sol, please.
Talk do Chainlink and Sol, please.
These super chats are having issues being coherent today. I don't know what it is.
I love it though. I love it. What I'm gonna do, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna read. We have a sponsor for the channel, so we're gonna read our sponsors. I'm gonna then go do very quick Chainlink and Solana, and then we're gonna enter our discussion. So if you guys are wondering what is next, that is what is next. But you guys know that we love Hedge here, not only because they're a sponsor of the channel and help us keep on the lights, but it's just a phenomenal company. Phenomenal company that allows you to be paid in crypto. And so that's another thing. We're talking about where to buy. Guess what one of the best pieces of advice is to get more crypto if you don't know how to really know for yourself where the bottoms and tops are going to be? You can just DCA. Well, guess what? When you DCA, you got to take your hard-earned money and you got to then pay the exchange fees. And it's good. It's a good spot. Just buy at a certain time every single week. What would be even better if you could save yourself those exchange fees and just get paid directly from your company. You don't have to pay and turn that into, pay the taxes in US dollars and then pay the exchange fee to put it on. You just get straight from your workplace into your account on your wallet. By the way, that's another sponsor of our channel, Ledger. If you don't have a cold wallet, go get Ledger today. Go get Hedge today. Those are both links in the description down below. But this is a phenomenal way. If you're a person who's asking, Tim, how do I know where to buy? Or Tim, I'm not good at picking where to buy. I just want to acquire more Bitcoin or more Ethereum or more Litecoin or more Cardano. Guess what? Two of the best ways to do it: get paid in crypto and get yourself a cold wallet. Those two are in the link down below, Hedge and Ledger. You'll want them today if you don't have them already. That being said, let's go look at, you said Chainlink.
Chainlink and Sol.
All right, give me just a second to find them. I don't always do Chainlink. Let's see. I see Solana. Let's do Solana first.
Tim, I need you to do Chainlink and Sol, please.
Yeah. Do.
Go ahead, talk Chainlink and Sol.
Yeah, here on the hourly chart in Solana, looking very similar to what we were talking about earlier. I think we were talking about Bitcoin. Was Bitcoin the one that looked kind of like this? Yeah, I think Bitcoin and Solana have kind of similar looking price actions going on. And what I mean by that is looking at this, we have this little bit of this, megaphone pattern happening right here where our resistance was expanding and our support was expanding the opposite direction, kind of a channel / megaphone. But then what we're seeing right now is kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it a channel, if you want to call it a falling wedge. Let me draw it and see how come on now, line. Click for me. There we go. I don't know if this is gonna say that we're converging or if it's gonna say that's just a channel. So I'm gonna have to draw this first. We definitely have multiple touches on it. Whoo. That's getting very close to more of a falling wedge kind of pattern. But you guys can see Solana's kind of doing the same thing. It's kind of waiting for that same thing. The whole crypto space is waiting on the Fed news. But where we are, let's just look at where we are in terms of other things. Let me clear all this out. So you guys are seeing those wedges. Let's clear that. We also have a longer time frame lines we could be drawing here, and that is, I don't know why this is struggling to click for me today. Got a couple touches right in here. Some people might even draw this a little higher and skip these points. I don't think that's a good way to draw it. I think I'm going to go back down. We got our rising level of support right here with 3 touches, so that's why that is a credible level, which means Solana potentially could come back down and touch this level here. At the same time frame, though, we got about 3 touches, I would say, here as well, so this is a credible level of resistance, which is a rising wedge. Not a guarantee. I've seen several times during this bear market a rising wedge, which should break bearish, end up breaking bullish, and vice versa. I've seen falling wedges break to the upside, so just know when you're looking at this chart and you're saying, oh, is Tim going to say Solana's going to crash? Not necessarily. I just got to draw it on the charts and let you guys know what I'm seeing. Let me use my Fibonacci and see what is happening Fibonacci-wise. We'll start with this point right up here. What is this? This May. The other ones I've been drawing for June. So Solana's actually kind of doing a pretty good job of outpacing. So this is one. Every other coin I was looking at, it's back above that golden pocket right here. It actually got even above its level on June 8th. But let's say, that's the cool thing about Fibonacci is you can choose almost any point and tip and any bottom and kind of make your argument. Let's go back up to here in May. Kind of wrestling right now. We broke below that 0.5. We're working around that area, though. That 0.5 was key resistance right here. So this level that we're currently hovering at, this zone around $39 and $38, it's actually pretty significant with that 0.5 level on Fibonacci if you went back to the peak on May 15th. But I think, as it stands right now, I do think Solana is sitting in a good spot to kind of continue to rally with the rest of the space. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Solana, I hadn't looked at Solana's chart here in a minute. So the fact that it's actually, its peak up here actually outdid its peak back in June, whereas, when I was looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, I'll show you guys, June 8th is right here, this peak way up here. On Ethereum, June 8th is this peak way up here. On Cardano, June 8th is, let's see, where is June 8th? Yep, June 8th is going to be way up here. So Solana actually outpacing where it was back in June at the moment. That's pretty cool for anyone who's holding Solana. And I know you guys on this channel, we haven't been the biggest Solana supporters necessarily, having to do with its centralization and how many times it's crashed. But if you love Solana, good for you. And, looking at the charts, I do think there's some bullish action left for Solana. Let's see even on the bigger time frames on RSI what's happening, because you guys know I love me some RSI. We had, I'm already going to be able to tell. We had some bullish RSI divergence right here. This peak that we had way down here that corresponds back with the January of this year, that has set up some bullish RSI divergence there, and right here, that's bullish RSI divergence right there on the daily chart as well. Solana's looking good. I also like the volume coming in on Solana. I think that there's a big community that really loves that. And that's even if there is centralization there. What I will say about centralization, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, it's okay to be centralized as long as there's some trust there. So if you the individual can trust Solana's team and the project, centralization isn't a big issue. It's when you start to wonder, can I trust this team anymore? And they're set up with a heavy centralization that makes you have to say, all right, let's just question this. So that's what we're looking at on Solana at the moment. I think low key, I think we can come down just a little bit more. I do think potentially though we bounce here and maybe rally. Could see maybe a $50 Solana here sometime soon. There's going to be key levels right there. You're going to see the chunk that we had right here where we kind of traded sideways and a little bit of a bear pennant here in May. There's going to be a key level right there on $49. I think $49 is potentially the spot to watch for some good resistance on Solana when we bounce here and then come back up. Keep your eyes what's going on right there. Chainlink was the next one. And I know I had Link. There we go. Chainlink's down here.
The Link Marines. Let us know if you're Link Marines down in the chat.
Link Marines. Let's see. This is a different looking chat. This is a different looking chart than what I've seen from the others. It does look like in a long time frame we're kind of working out here on a falling wedge though. So that's a good sign for Link. Link is special because it's good. It's one of the altcoins that has the least amount of competition If or is that VeChain? Am I thinking VeChain?
No, it's well.
I think I'm thinking
there's not a
VeChain.
lot of other really competent oracles. Or
It's about the chain.
yeah, Chainlink is an oracle, meaning it provides data to the different projects, whether it be Ethereum, Cardano. So it's kind of piping in
off-chain data.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Samay. Off-chain data. So
That was
whether it be NFL scores for some kind of crypto betting site, it's Chainlink's the one that's going out. An oracle is the one that's going out and fetching that information from an ESPN magazine, or an ESPN, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, and confirming that indeed the final score of this game was X and Y, and making sure that those smart contracts are fed the right data. And they've done a good job. They've done a good job. There was some crazy stuff that went on with Luna. They actually shut down their service. They shut down their service with Chainlink, and that messed a bunch of stuff up. That was during the crazy fall that happened there. But yeah, I'm very bullish on Chainlink. I think it's a really good project.
Yeah,
and
Chainlink's one of the ones I like. Real quick, you're on TA of it. We had the bullish divergence, so you guys see the price went down, RSI went up, so that's bullish right there. Volume, I pulled up the VPVR to look at the volume. We're wrestling right now with a key level. You guys see this big chunk right in here, and I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see it more clearly. Big chunk. Here we're kind of staying within those zones, and I'll go ahead and draw them for you right here and right here. That's a pretty good. Didn't get the line. There we go. That's a pretty good representation of a channel that we've been sitting in. If I zoom out, though, and we come and look at a bigger picture, if we can somehow, if with Chainlink, we can wrestle through and get through this level right here, about $7.69, there's actually kind of some easy, spacing. I would say maybe right here, that peak we had back here at $9.47 back in June, we got to keep an eye on that one. But there's a good chance that if we break through this falling wedge, which we could very soon, we're sitting at that level in the falling wedge that this could have been a bottom for it. Again, probably not likely with the way we're kind of forecasting the rest of the crypto space. Maybe come back down one more time. But I think that if we break through it and Chainlink starts doing its own thing, the next level I'm looking at after we break through this $9.40 or whatever is we're sitting up here. We don't really have good resistance until about 12, and then you're seeing a lot more come in. That were some bottoms of some other areas. So Chainlink is one right now. It's got a zone right now. It's wrestling between this $6 and about $7.50. If we break through there, let's watch out for $9.50, and then after that, 12 potentially. That's what the charts are showing. But continue to do your own technical analysis. Continue to look at those charts and keep update with the fundamentals. Neither Solana nor Chainlink are ones that I stay up to date with what's happening in the news. You can go off my screen if you're not already smangled. But yeah. With that being said, any questions? So someone asked about Polkadot. We are doing today's afternoon video about Polkadot. So if you want to know more about Polkadot TA, make sure you join in for the afternoon video this afternoon. Probably going out sometime around 3:30 is when we've been putting those out. So come back for that. But let's go ahead and jump in, T-Shroom. I'm going to throw it back over to you to kind of set the stage. But let's talk more about this Wednesday announcement from the Fed and what we're seeing potentially happening, what the repercussions of those decisions could mean for the future.
Absolutely. And we do have one more super chat. We can cover that towards the end.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So if you will come over to my screen, I've got a article here. We're not going to go through the entire article because there's quite a bit here, but it's basically asking the question: will the Fed prevent Bitcoin price from reaching 28K? And that's really kind of the question. Is this Fed decision going to have a bullish or a bearish effect on the market? Could it have a surprising effect on the market? Could the market potentially buy something that's even more hawkish? Crazier things have happened in the financial markets all the time. But after sealing a successful weekly close, its highest since mid-June, Bitcoin to USD pair is much more cautious as the Federal Reserve prepares to hike benchmark interest rates to fight inflation. And then there's a very interesting tweet that I'm gonna look at, looking at the FOMC to tech earnings amid the lowest liquidity of the year. Market is back to overbought. Bulls let it ride. And then this Twitter account has brought up a really, really interesting, and the Twitter account is Mac10. But a really interesting correlation between when the FOMC decisions are and the price movement of the NASDAQ composite, which why are we bringing up the NASDAQ? This is equities, U.S. equities and stocks. There is a strong correlation right now between Bitcoin especially and the NASDAQ and tech stocks. So, and basically the takeaway here is that the FOMC decisions have not been great. Each time they put in a lower low in accordance with the FOMC meetings. And during the tech earnings, there's kind of like this U shape, almost like a teacup that kind of comes in a cup and handle almost.
Never gets the handle in.
But exactly, it neglects that. It doesn't get the handle in, and then it fades down. So that that's something to be thinking about. Right now, we are at the end. We're nearing the end of the tech earnings. I'm sorry, we're not nearing the tech. We're at the beginning of the week for tech earnings. So it's a very, very big week. And historically, as this Twitter account has pointed out, it's been very bearish for the NASDAQ. So we'll be keeping a look on that, and also how that's going to affect things. But you can leave my screen now, Smay, and I really appreciate you doing what you do. But then I would just ask the question to Tim.
Yeah.
What are you thinking will happen in the fall with these rates? I mean, I think it's so certain for the most part. It's pretty certain what is going to happen this week with the Fed. I think everybody's kind of expecting the 75% basis point. But I'm also very curious about what's going to happen in the fall. And just before you answer that, we can go ahead and check in what the CME futures are predicting. And they are still very heavily in the 75 camp. Yeah. 76.9% is predicting that 75 hike. But what's going to happen in the fall, Tim? What happens throughout the rest of the year? Is that kind of the bigger story here?
So this goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the show. So it's not the number that's even going to be the biggest impact on what we see in the future. Because again, 75 is, nothing's a sure thing. But 75 is getting pretty darn close to being a sure thing for the number they're going to go with, right? Mm-hmm. I actually think there's a bigger chance of a 50. Like if we're going to start to expand past 75 basis points and say, well, if it's not 75, what will it be? I think there's actually a greater chance. I've seen some people say 100. I've seen some people at 125. I actually think based off of some of the reporting that's coming out, there's a better chance of a 50 basis point rate hike than there is 100. And the reason for that is because of what we're seeing from Janet Yellen, because of what we're seeing from the White House, because of what we're seeing from even the Fed itself, is that right now they're fighting between a rock and a hard place. They're fighting between recession and they're fighting between inflation. And guess what? The response to those two, you have to do two very opposite things. When recession is coming, you are told to lower interest rates so that there's more money in the space so people can spend money to keep the economy afloat. What is a recession? A recession is when the economy is tanking. What do you do to fix the economy? Get more money in there. Probably even turn on the printers again, start pumping more money, make it easier to borrow money, let people start spending money. Now, that's just kicking the can down the road because we know that's going to cause inflation to rise. And of course, what do you do when you see inflation rising? You raise those interest rates to make it harder to spend. You lower the demand so that it matches the supply problem. We've seen Jerome Powell talk about this. The question is, which one will they attack? And what we are seeing come out of their mouth right now is that it seems as though they would rather keep us out of a recession than fix the inflating US dollar. Why is that? I think it has to do with what we're seeing happen overseas in other fiat currencies, because it's not just the US dollar inflating at historic numbers. Other currencies are as well. And there's going to be a point where if the US dollar is strong but no one else is, well, that's not good for us either, because now all of a sudden it's going to be hard to start doing trade with them. So not that I'm saying it's the right thing to do. What I'm saying, though, is if we're just going to be realistic, I think there's actually a good chance that over the next couple of months, we see some dovish moves from the government, from the FOMC at least. And I was on the show on Cointelegraph here last week where I got to interview Data Dash. Some of you guys know him, Nicholas Merton. Great guy, very intelligent guy. I don't know if I'm fully on board with him yet, but he floated the concept, and he was saying how he believes that what we're going to see is 75 basis points this month. We don't have anything in August. We're going to see the inflation numbers. Some people think the inflation is peaked. We'll have to see. We'll wait till August to get those numbers. But then in September, rather than going more hawkish, they're going to get even more dovish and go 50 basis points. And then October, we're going to see 25. And they're going to start tapering back these interest rate hikes. And that's going to cause us to not go into recession. It's going to pump the stock market. It's going to pump crypto. And so for all of us here who are holding crypto, we're like, oh, that's good. Okay, that's great for crypto. Not very good for the economy, not very good for the U.S. Well, it's good for the economy, sorry. Not very good for the U.S. dollar, not very good for the economy long term, because what's going to happen is later down the road, maybe now we're pushing the, maybe we'll have like a mini little bull market, which it won't be a bull market, but maybe we even get up to back to 40,000. Maybe we push it to 50,000. I don't know. And people think that we're doing well, and then later when the U.S. dollar is just completely out of control, and we're seeing inflation numbers reflect 17, 18, maybe 20%. Now, all of a sudden, the Fed has to get more aggressive, and now we enter into another prolonged bear market in the entire crypto space, commodity space, stock market. So I'm hoping that gets avoided. What I really, really would love to see is that this be the catalyst that turns people on to the fact that money at the moment is broken and we need cryptocurrency. People start using cryptocurrency to actually buy and sell things. Would be phenomenal. I don't know if we're going to go that far, though. I do think, though, there is a chance, as much as we've been calling for this bear market to continue, and I do think there will be at least one more good dip, there's a chance that just because the government decides to go the route of fighting recession and they make some similar moves that they did potentially here a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we could see a little pump come back to the space. And so that's what I'm waiting for Wednesday. I'm not waiting for the number, although if that number is different than 75, that will be interesting itself. I think 75 is pretty safe. I think the question is, what will Jerome Powell's answers to the questions be? What will he kind of tease us with that September and October are going to look like with their rate hikes? Are they going to continue to stay? Nope. At this point, we're going to stay around 75. We'll decide if he needs to go heavier, or he's going to kind of say like, hey, we've done a great job of curbing inflation. The numbers, as the White House reported, they're outdated. It's not really that bad. We can actually start tapering off. Not tapering off. That's the wrong way to say that. We can start scaling back and go to 50, go to 25. That's what's going to be really interesting. And as much as I think that'd be a wrong move for the economy long term, what I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, I'll take the W. That's going to be good for Bitcoin. That's going to be good for crypto. That's going to be good for all of my holdings. And you guys know me. I am a person of the opinion that we need to start using crypto for payments sooner rather than later. We need to start proving its liquidity. We need to start this financial revolution where we show the government, hey, no matter what you say, we're going to make financially responsible decisions. And even if I have to deal with a little bit of pain, even if I have to buy things with Bitcoin right now when Bitcoin's only worth about $21,000, I'm going to do it to prove a point that this money that we currently use is broken and we need a better world. That's the kind of boat that I'm in at this point, but we'll see if the rest of the world kind of rallies behind me or if people continue just to use Bitcoin as a commodity and just a store of value, in which case it's going to take a lot longer before we see it take over and do everything it's fully capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think kind of the takeaway there is, it's certain, it's very high certainty what's going to be said on Wednesday, what the decision will be. But what's really, really interesting and what we'll be paying attention to for sure is the details and any hints of what's to come in the fall and what key metrics and what key indicators that they're looking at, especially when making these decisions. Is it the unemployment rate that they're looking at? Is it obviously inflation is the biggest one, but what are the other ones that they're looking at, and what specifically in the inflation rate? What parts are the most important to them, and then we can track how those are being broken down as time goes by. So but great analysis there, Tim, and a good takeaway for sure. So we did get a super chat just as we're wrapping up here, and I've kind of prepped an answer for it, but you can give yours too if you'd like. Jesse Reyes donated $5. Said, "Good morning, fellas. Thoughts on cake? I started buying at $8 through $3.80, thinking it's time to DCA again. Thanks." Now, I am a little bit of a cake connoisseur myself. I own a decent amount of cake. Don't know off the top of my head how much I own, but if you'll go to my screen, I've got a little bit of analysis for you. If you thought that if you thought Bitcoin was moving sideways and was a little boring, cake is extremely boring and moving sideways. So it's right in its zone of the VPR right now, VPVR, and it's just been staying true. Not much standard deviation from basically $3. It's just kind of boring and steady. I think that we're at a point now, and I'll prove this right here. I think we're at a point now where the people that are in cake, the total locked is 168,000 cake is locked, So I think that the hands that are in Cake right now aren't really selling. I think they're all mostly locked, and they're getting that 83% APY, and they're just looking to stay in and see what happens with the market. I have a comfortable amount in Cake right now. I could afford to lose it, as you should. That's the only, especially in an altcoin, like a DeFi token like this. You should not have a lot of money in it, but just enough to see some gains. So yeah, but on the chart, it's very boring. I'm not thinking it's going to come up on its own volition. I think it's very much kind of tracking the larger crypto market, and it's really boring. I can also pull up the Bollinger Bands too and just prove that point yet again, just how much of a column that is. It's not looking to expand those Bollinger Bands anytime soon. But as soon as the crypto market starts to turn around and the bottom gets confirmed, I would imagine that Cake is going to resume upwards as well. Tim, did you have
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I mean, I don't have a massive opinion there. It just looks like a project that will do better during bull markets. I don't think it's going to die during this bear market, but I just don't think during bear markets it's the one that you're going for. So yeah.
But I, my confidence is pretty strong still in Cake, even though it's devalued so much. I bought it at 40 and then 20 and then 10 and obviously I'm down quite a bit on that, but it's a Binance project. So it's not officially Binance project, but it's a Binance ordained project. So they've kind of given their seal of approval, and I think that they have invested in the pool as well. So yeah. So if you're a believer in Binance, which I'm tentatively, I'm not like obviously anywhere near as close of a Binance enthusiast as I am a Bitcoin enthusiast, but Binance has its place, and it is very, very large. I think it's the biggest exchange in the world. Binance is, and so their token is very, very important too. But also something to remember is that Binance US is under investigation of the SEC. That its token is actually a security that was never declared. So there's definitely some, there's some rumbling, but they did a similar thing to Ripple and XRP. So we've kind of seen that story play itself out. But Tim, that really wraps up our discussion.
Yeah, it does. I'm going to wrap it up with this. There's a question from Crypto Sec guy Jeffrey. It's actually a good question. He says, if you aren't into using Bitcoin for payments, what crypto would you like to see for that? And he added Tim. Good question. So I think the first thing you're looking at is what coins were created for that store value. And I've seen people say before, like Ethereum is a good one, but I don't think Ethereum was created for store value. I don't think that's its purpose. I think it definitely has a clear use case, and it's going to do phenomenal because of it. Same reason for Cardano. I mean, let's just start with coins that were created to do just that, to be used as currency. I think XRP's got to be up there. I think there's going to be a large community of Dogecoin users, along with Elon Musk, to say that that Dogecoin should be up there in the conversation. I don't know if we'll go that route. I'm going to stay away from privacy coins. I think privacy coins are going to just have red targets on them the entire time because of the ability to be used for sketchy things. I told you guys we met a guy in Austin, Texas, who loved Monero because he could buy shrooms with it. So honestly, if Bitcoin doesn't become the use case, the thing that people use to actually purchase things rather than US dollar, I would have to say the one with the best chance to take up its mantle is XRP. Of course, they got to finish that lawsuit with the SEC, but I'm pretty optimistic on Optimistic Monday that Ripple's going to do it. They're going to win.
I have a hot take about this, actually.
Yeah, go for it. We're running a little long, but it's okay to run long today.
My hot take about this is that I don't think if Bitcoin doesn't become a currency, then I don't think any cryptocurrency becomes a currency.
I think Ripple could do it. I think XRP could do it.
I think there's a CBDC. If it's not Bitcoin, it's a CBDC.
Yeah,
that's my.
I think if it doesn't become those a Bitcoin backed, but again we're talking about if we don't use Bitcoin. I think a Bitcoin backed coin of some kind could be phenomenal. But we'll have to see. We'll explore that more later. That's an interesting concept. Thank you for the question there, Jeffrey Fritz. Guys, that is the end of our show today. We went a little long, but we always love getting to come and talk with all of you guys, get you guys updated on what's happening in the market. If you have not done it already, smash that like button. We got 900 people watching, only 374 likes, so we definitely can get that number higher. If you are new here, thank you so much for choosing Coffee and Crypto Live. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for daily content on what's happening in the crypto market. With that being said, though, guys, I'll see you this afternoon. We're going to be doing a video on DOT. Some of you guys are asking about that in chat, so make sure to tune in this afternoon for DOT.TA. With that being said, though, guys, I will see you tomorrow on another episode of Coffee and Crypto. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.